everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hermione and today I'm going to be sharing kind of a sit down chatty video with you guys because it feels like it's been a while and I really do like making these videos once in a while. I have a really squeaky chair. It's not going to do it now, is it? But I have a really squeaky chair, so if you hear that throughout the video, I'm sorry. Anyway, in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my top tips for finding thrifted home decor pieces. I get a lot of questions about how I find these pieces and how I find interesting ones and good value ones, so I wanted to give you guys 10 tips today. And bear in mind, when I say thrifting, what I mean is like a blanket term for all of the different things and the different places you can find secondhand things. So I'm talking charity shops if you live in the UK, thrift stores in America, op shops, consignment stores, any kind of secondhand stores, junk stores, flea markets, car boot sales, garage sales, yard sales, all of those kind of places. Hopefully this will be relevant for, but really mainly kind of the shop environment, so definitely thrift stores, charity shops, that kind of thing. So let's get into the tips, and the first thing I think is important before you go is to kind of get a little bit of inspiration and know what you're looking for. Maybe you have a theme for your home or a certain room in your home and you want to keep up with that. That's a great way to stay on track. But if you don't, definitely go ahead and make a mood board, look for colours, textures, shapes, and get an idea really of what you're looking for. Pinterest obviously is a great place to start, but don't feel like you have to limit yourself to Pinterest. I love bookmarking and reading a ton of different blogs to get different inspiration from different people who like very different things. I've used the word different many times there. Also, home decor magazines, it's kind of old school, but they have some really interesting ideas that you definitely don't see on Pinterest all the time. But my absolute favorite place to look that is kind of unconventional is in the stores, especially like Urban Outfitters and Anthropologie. They have amazing displays and they always do really unique things with what they have. So definitely go and have a look on the high street and check out your local home stores and see what they're doing with their merchandise. Next up, when you know what you're looking for, it's a great idea to keep a running list of exactly what you want. Say you need a lamp or you need a desk, keep those things in mind and then hopefully you can avoid buying loads of knickknacks and things that you definitely did not need before you left the house. It's really easy to start hoarding decor pieces, especially if you like buying them secondhand. Guilty. But try to avoid doing that and do have an idea of what you want in the back of your head. That way you can definitely make sure that you make a beeline for the specific section of the store as well. It can also save you time if you're short on time. Next up, don't forget to keep your mind open when you're looking for things. So many things can be upcycled and repurposed and would look great with a lick of paint. I made a video about these things recently if you want to see some of my upcycled projects, but I have a couple more that I'm just gonna slide into this video really quickly. So the first thing is this swan that I bought a little while ago, and I love the shape of it. I love these kind of old school ceramic swans, but I wasn't too keen on the pattern and it's kind of little creepy face it's got going on. So what I did is I just gave it a fresh lick of pink spray paint, and then once it was dry I could put a nice trailing ivy in it and I think it looks super cute. Embroidery hoops are great because you can do a lot with these. I found this one for £1 and I decided to make a weaving out of it. So I picked up a ton of different ribbons from the haberdashery. They were very cheap and this is how I did it. All I did was glue the ribbons in one direction in a bunch of different colours using hot glue, and I glued that to the inside hoop and I made sure it was pulled very, very tightly. Then when that was dry, I took some more ribbons and glued those down the sides, and I then went ahead and weaved those through the ribbons that I had already put down. This is a little time consuming, but it looks really nice when you've finished, and you can make this in a variety of different colorways. You obviously don't have to go for something as bright as I did, but I think it looks really interesting and it takes very little weaving skills whatsoever. So definitely don't limit yourself. If you see something interesting, it's got a nice shape, but maybe it looks a little bit old or worn out, you can do so many different things with it. Tip number 4 is to take your time and go very slowly. I would recommend taking a whole day or at least half a day to hit up a few different places and just take your time. Don't be in a rush, because that way you can look in so many different sections and find a ton of really exciting things. Speaking of different sections, you definitely need to check every single section very thoroughly, because you can find some very interesting things. If you're looking for fabric, go and have a look at the pillowcases and duvet covers. You can find something interesting there if you want to upcycle it. You might find some interesting things in the toy section that you can spray paint, and if you are looking for clothes, you can definitely find some really cool pieces in the men's section and the older children's section. So keep your mind open, look for prints, patterns, shapes, and just go through the entire store. Another thing is, if you have a few of your favorite shops that you like to go to, definitely try and hit them up about once a week at the least. A lot of people ask me how I get my hands on so many Topshop, ASOS, River Island pieces, and that's because I keep going back and I look at my favorite places again and again. And maybe this is just relevant to charity shops in England because they're much smaller, but if you go every week or so, you kind of know what's already been there and what's new, so you can actually do it a lot quicker. Next up is location, and this is going to vary depending on your taste or what you're looking for, but personally I find that going into neighbourhoods with more of an elderly population have more vintage finds. They're definitely more unique and you can probably find them for slightly cheaper, whereas if you go into a bigger city, you'll find more of the modern things and the prices might vary a little bit. This varies from place to place, so it really depends on where you're living, but those are kind of the rules, or what I go by for my area, and it will definitely help me depending on what I'm looking for. My next tip is mainly for the big thrift stores in America, maybe Canada, and other places in the world. They don't really do this in the UK very much, but I feel like they should. But that is special tag days and deal days. This way you can find some really interesting pieces at the cheapest price you could probably get them at. And my bonus tip for everyone who lives in the UK that doesn't necessarily apply to is to check. Sometimes stores have discount rails or £1 rails that they'll put things on when they're ready to get rid of them. So those are my tips for bargains, and on to the next tip is cleaning. When you're looking at items in the store that have stains on them or cracks in them, or they might be broken, a little bit dirty, you have to assess, can this be fixed or can it be cleaned? Because if it can't, I would recommend just leaving it. Some stains might not come out and then you're out of however much you spent on it and there's nothing much you can do with it. There's so many different ways to clean pieces. Obviously, fabric and textiles have all of the instructions on them, and there's multiple different resources that you can look up on Google and Pinterest. Woods and metals can be polished with the right kind of polishes, and plastic can be cleaned with antibacterial wipes or any other kind of disinfectant. So don't be too worried if it's not looking perfectly clean, but do avoid those things that look like an absolute disaster. And on to my last tip, which I think is the absolute most important if you go charity shopping and thrifting, is to re-donate. Once you've finished with your clothing items or your homeware pieces, if they're in a good enough condition, definitely redonate them. Not only does this give back to the community or help good causes, it's also a really great way to give items a new lease of life and to kind of avoid that fast fashion trap where we buy something and then we throw it away when we're bored of it. So it's environmentally a good idea and it's good to give back to good causes. Plus, if nobody donated, there would be nothing to thrift and these tips would be kind of useless. Anyway, that is everything I have to share with you guys in this video. I hope you liked having more of a sit-down video. I'd love to do these more often because I do enjoy making them. And also I hope the tips were helpful. If you guys have any tips that I haven't mentioned or you think might be really useful, I'd love to know them in the comments down below, and maybe that can help people that are reading the comments. Anyway, that's everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.